Hi, this is Laura Whitmore with Acoustic Nation, and I'm here today with Sean Sullivan. Hey, Sean.
Hey, Laura.
How are you?
Yeah.
We're good. We're both good, right?
We're both good. Yeah.
So you just released a new album this year, Hereafter.
That's right.
So how's that been going?
It's so far so good. Few gigs, some really good press has been rolling in, and I feel grateful.
And what was, is there sort of some kind of overarching theme or inspiration for the album as a whole, or?
Well, the project is kind of I like to think of it as an distinctly American project. It's got some blues, it's got some soul and some rock and some Americana, some jazz. So it's a mix of things. And I like to think the blues and the soul flavors unify the project as a whole.
That's a lot of stuff to throw in there.
Yeah, well, I somehow or another I make the gumbo work. I throw a little filet in, a little salt and pepper, and stir it up.
And your background is that you studied at Berkeley and
Berkeley College of Music.
New England Conservatory.
Yeah,
right?
and classical guitar. I did some schooling, but really it's been the life schooling, the school of gigs, as they say.
So you learned the rules so you could break all the rules, right?
Exactly. Well, you can be and study academically as much as you want, but that's not really the same as getting out there and having to relate to an audience, having to, work the room, as they say. That's a whole thing in and of itself.
I bet you're a master at that.
Well, I people say that, but I get nervous still, and I just kind of get up there and do my thing. So
yeah. So let's talk about the writing on the album. So what's your writing process? Do you have do you start with a lyric or a feeling or?
Yeah. I work intuitively. I like to use that word. I get a central idea, and then from that, things start to flesh themselves out. I don't usually know where the idea comes from. It just pops in. But once I get it, it has to be a good enough idea for me to spend the time to flesh it out and make it a real song. I try not to write 25 so-so songs and one good song comes out of that. I try to just make one good song from one good idea. And sometimes they come faster, sometimes they're more labored, more crafted, but in general it has to be an exciting idea. It has to be catchy. I like pop songs. I like to craft a catchy melody and a catchy lyric, but it also has to have a message. It has to be healing, to be fun. It has to be more than just a hook.
Do you write like with your guitar, just you and your guitar, like hanging out and writing?
I do. I sometimes go up to the woods, literally, or I'll find a stream and I'll just kind of sit down on a rock and do it out in nature. I really love to be outside or under a tree or these kind of typical places that you think an artist would be inspired. I try to find those places, But sometimes, living in New York City, of course, it's just the corner of your room, And I get ideas all the time. Sometimes I'm in conversation, and I'm relaxed talking to somebody, and a phrase will come up, and it usually goes into the iPhone in the notes section, and then I have just thousands of one or two lines that come up in conversation with somebody, or an idea occurs to me that I keep in the notes section, and then later on I access that and I go, oh yeah, I remember I said that, or so and so said that, and then I begin to write and flesh something out from that.
That is a handy tool.
Yeah, I mean it used to be notebooks, but now of course everything, guitar tuner, notes, chord things, they're all handy in the app, and thesaurus and everything. Of course, when I started writing in the old days, I'd carry around a backpack with a rhyming dictionary, thesaurus, guitar tuner, recorder, guitar, chair, all this. And so, I'd be walking down the road trying to find some place to relax, and I'd be carrying all that stuff. Now it's just guitar and iPhone, which has a recorder on it as well. So technology is great.
I know, that's awesome. Then you never forget anything.
Of course, it still feels good to to actually, pencil and paper.
I know.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah. Just like reading a book, feels
Yeah.
good grabbing
Yeah,
the
yeah.
paper.
So, on the album, is there a song or two that you just really love to play live that really is a fun live song for you?
Well, it depends on the audience. I think some of the songs are deeper, more English major, more crafted. Some of them are more gut level, bluesy.
Yeah.
Some of the songs are just grooves, kind of fun, environment that I want a vehicle for a fun environment or a feeling that I want to. For instance, Don't Get Me Started, conjures this kind of Marvin Gaye sort of groovy sound, that's sort of inclusive of everyone. It's a happy song. Ready is more front porch, Southern Gothic, Faulknerian kind of thing that comes from your gut, bluesy. It's very raw. The lyric is nothing but the essential things that I want to say. And then I have other songs that are more English major, crafted kinds of songs, like Wandering Home on the album uses Greek mythology as a means to describe my struggle in life and as a musician. I use the figures of Icarus and Prometheus and Odysseus to talk about my own journey through life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a mix of things that way, and I think I think that a musical set, or a concert should take you through different roads and different paths. It doesn't necessarily have to be all the same style. It doesn't have to be all the same flavor. I think it's more interesting to do different kinds of things if you can, and you make it authentic. You bring your spirit to it,
Mm-hmm.
and your heart to it, and that's the main thing. Is if you mean what you say, then it all becomes authentic,
Mm-hmm.
becomes real. And I go along with this philosophy that the intellect serves the spirit, and that spiritual intelligence is the highest form of intelligence, and not the other way around. For jazz musicians, when they solo and they get too far up in their head, then it loses that essential swing and that the realness. I believe that somewhere from down in here is where the good solos come from.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of this bridge between the mind and the tools that you learn, and then the moment and the spirit that you bring to it, that make a solo exciting, that make a singing exciting, that make a concert exciting. So that the moment is very important.
Yeah, that's a very cool thought. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm going to try not to think about that, but just do
It's
it.
heavy, man. It's heavy.
That's cool. That's good.
Yeah.
So, tell me about your gear setup. Tell me about your guitar and sort of some of that side of things.
Well, I've played nylon string a lot for a long time, and now I'm back to where I started. I had my first steel string guitar was a Guild D40, and now I'm playing a nice Martin D18 Golden Era, which is really nice. So I find that's got a really nice acoustic ring and a good bass, and it's very loud. I've got a good pickup in there, and I use an AER amp. Might as well plug the AER,
Yeah.
which is very they're super transparent acoustic tone, and good with the vocals. I have a good Neumann. I believe in the Germans make fantastic microphones. The U47 and all those great vintage tube mics are amazing. So I have a KMS 105 mic, which just has transparency and detail on the gig. It's maybe not as roadworthy as the old Shure SM54s and 57s, etc., but it's good. So that's basically what I use. I don't use picks. I started out with picks, but I just, as you probably have noticed here, holding, they're not Lee press-on, but I actually glue them in, and I can play aggressively with all three of my fingers. And I like to feel the strings. I like to feel the guitar. I don't like to have something artificial separate from and I have nothing against the use of a pick. Certainly you can get great speed if you're playing an electric guitar solo. But I tend not to do that. I tend to play mostly rhythm and fingerstyle and stuff in order to accompany the message of the song.
Right.
And but invariably, I hire a really great guitarist next to me who's doing all the lead chores. So
That's the trick. You gotta all the other musicians bring
exactly.
you up.
I'm
so.
selling the song and
Yeah.
providing the rhythm, and then I have the guys next to me. And occasionally I take a little solo if I'm doing it by myself, if I'm a soloist.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you. So what's next? Are you going to be doing some more touring?
Just gigging, I like to get out and play. I mean, all of this recording and writing and the things that we do as artists is really designed to sustain us as musicians, and the more gigs I can get as a result, that's where I live. I just love playing music and playing music live for people and having that communication with the audience. It's very gratifying to me. I mean, there's nothing else I can think that I can do which can reach people in the same way as performing. So it's very special to me.
Well, we'll have to check you out.
Yeah. Please come on down to the gig.
Yeah. Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you, Laura.